Blessings and greetings. Today we'll talk in this video a little bit about Thanksgiving, its history, its origins and beginnings, what it means to us and to our forefathers, and we'll tie it all to our faith as we go along. Thanksgiving, as we all know, is celebrated on the last Thursday of the month of November. But why do we do so? Where does it originate, and what is its significance of the day itself and even the word? Originally, it was a day of thanksgiving for the harvest and the previous year itself. Although Thanksgiving has historical roots in religious and cultural traditions, it has also been celebrated as a secular holiday. In November of 1621, after the Pilgrims' first corn harvest was successful, Governor William Bradford hosted a celebration party and invited a group of Native American allies of the fledgling colony, including the Wampanoag chief Massasoit. Now remembered as America's first Thanksgiving, and we'll discuss that first Thanksgiving a little bit later. Although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used this term at the time, the festival lasted 3 days. There is no record of the exact menu of the first Thanksgiving. Historians have written that it was not necessarily turkey, but pork, well known to the British also. The Pilgrims held their second Thanksgiving celebration in 1623 to mark the end of a long drought that had threatened the year's harvest and led Governor Bradford to call for a religious fast. Fast in quotation marks. Annual or occasional days of fasting and Thanksgiving also became common practice in other New England settlements. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress designated one or more days of Thanksgiving each year, and in 1789, President George Washington issued the first Thanksgiving proclamation by the national government of the United States. In it, he called on Americans to express their gratitude for the successful conclusion of the country's War of Independence and the successful ratification of the United States Constitution. So there was some change there from being thankful for agricultural reasons to political reasons as such. Washington's successors, John Adams and James Madison, also designated days of Thanksgiving for during their presidencies. In 1817, New York became the first of several states to officially adopt an annual Thanksgiving holiday. However, each celebrated it on a different day, and the southern United States, including Florida, remain unfamiliar with the tradition. And we'll see in a few minutes how ironic that ignorance in Florida truly was, given the roots of the holiday with us. Abraham Lincoln, at the height of the Civil War, signed a proclamation in which he pleaded with all Americans to ask God to commit to his tender care all those who have been left widowed, orphaned, bereaved, or who have suffered in the unfortunate civil struggle, and to heal the wounds of the nation. That was another mini change that Abraham Lincoln did to the already established holiday. Lincoln scheduled Thanksgiving for the last Thursday in November, and it was celebrated on that day every year. And in 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed a bill making Thanksgiving the fourth Thursday in November the official holiday for the entire United States. Despite all this history, if we want to be faithful, truly faithful to the word gratitude or thanksgiving, we Catholics are well ahead of all of this. In April 1513, 200 years before the other histories that I have been talking about, the great Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon discovered Florida and called it by that name because he discovered it at Easter, which in Spanish is Pascua Florida, Florida being Florida. Upon arrival, he celebrated a Holy Catholic Mass in Latin, which was the common language for the Mass at that time, and that Mass was in gratitude, thanksgiving. Curiously, this would then be the first day, the first Thanksgiving Day, first Gratitude Day, first Dia de Dar Gracias in America, 200 years before the Pilgrims had theirs. In Spanish, we have tried to translate Thanksgiving into a variety of words: Día de Acción de Gracias, Día de Dar Gracias, Día de Agradecimiento, all trying to translate Thanksgiving, which really doesn't exist in Cervantes' language at all. Without being homilistic with you, the day of giving thanks occurs every morning that we wake up and have the gift of one more day without deserving it, only by the grace of God. Let us each remember those graces in our lives: health, our family, friends, our fraternal orders if we belong to one, and life itself. As Catholics, this word that we want to translate is of great importance, and we must keep it in mind. The Hebrew word berakach, which later becomes the Greek eucharistia, means to give thanks, to have gratitude, or thanksgiving. How fantastic then that we actually celebrate the Eucharist and the day of giving thanks, Thanksgiving, every time we meet the Lord in this sacrament. And we must incorporate into that list of gratitudes the gift of our salvation, the gift of faith, the gift of knowing that we are loved by a compassionate and merciful God. Blessings today and always. And before we close, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, our recordings, and there's the proof, are never edited. They are recorded as I say them. Some parts I read, and given my visual acuity, I cannot read too many parts, but they are recorded and posted as they come out at that moment. And you are welcome to critique as you so desire. I may not listen to the criticism, but at least you will get it off your chest. Again, pardon the errors, but they are done with a lot of love and faith. Blessings.